It's just bananas.
Why is Max so red? Bro, why you so red? Are we not going to address the sun spanking you've taken? Someone get that man some factor 50. SPF 50. Why is Max transforming into Hellboy? Hopefully Max has been tested for steroids, because being that red is a telltale sign. He's British. He could have just been in the sun for 30 minutes. Juice. Max needs to get his hematocrit checked. Red tomato. Max looking redder than the Munster shirt there. Why is that dude so red? Dude needs to chill and stay out of the sun for a minute. What's up with the red dragon? You need to crawl out of the sun, bro. Jeez, Max. Have you just returned from Mars? Can you change the color grading so we don't look so fucking red? I suppose this is a bad time to mention I'm colorblind. The colorblind thing might be an issue.
We're starting this show with that. That's what the show is starting with. This is welcome to Maul or Nothing. Boom.
More or nothing.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Maul or Nothing with Ryan and Max. A lot to unpack in today's show. Max, obviously, huge commiserations for. Oh, it was for the neutral. It was a great game of rugby, but obviously it didn't go the way of Bristol, which was very saddening for you, for the squad, for everyone involved, and everyone to do with Maul or Nothing as well, because we're big Bristol Bears supporters. But also double kind of jeopardy with you was the fact that you also got yourself injured. What happened?
Salt on the wound, as the saying goes.
By the way, this feels like people are tuning into this already. I felt bad before it started, and you just made it feel even worse, like somber.
You really melancholied that up.
Well, I can't go upbeat and be like, "Hey, congrats on not getting to the final of the Prem." Come on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Anyway, got on 3 tries in quick succession. That was weird. Big Joe, Max Ojomo, and Will Muir, clinical as ever, were Bath when they got their chances. We were plugging away down their half. I managed to get a carry. Look up, the big fella, Miles Reed's in front of me. I try and put a little footwork on him. Should have got the fend out, but he's got on the back of me, backpack tackle, dragged down the back of my body. And my left foot's got wedged in the ground, and his hips like come into contact with that. So it's basically like the bear trap, the old fullback tackle. I've essentially blown out my syndesmosis and my deltoid of my left ankle. So no break. So
that was what I got. That was
what I was going with, because that's what it felt like. Because all I heard was like this crack, and I was like, "Oh no!" So like I'm lying on my front, and I'm like, I know I've done something bad, so I'm praying to Buddha, Odin, Jesus, Allah, that my damn foot is straight. I turn around, and I was just relieved beyond description.
Just see that your foot was still intact.
My foot was just that way, and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I just laid on the ground like, "Yeah, I'm dead. Come over here, physio." And then BB's in the corner in the next phase. So, it was sad. And then I was sort of waiting around.
Do you know there's nowhere worse to get injured as well, because you get stuck back in that tiny little fucking dressing room? That's where I tore my MCL in the European Cup. And I remember and I remember being sat in there, and there's no room. Like, they put the physio stuff in the showers, and like people are bumping into the showers are turning on, and I sat there with my MCL in bits going, "This is it. It's all over." Because it's
the worst away change room in the league, 100%. It's claustrophobic, it's tiny, but there's a charm to the stadium, no doubt. But you're absolutely right. I'm in there, like thinking, done something bad here. Yeah, get assessed. Foot's blowing up like a balloon. And then I'm just sort of waiting around. And then obviously, you know what was worse, Ryan? Obviously losing was huge. Obviously losing.
Being able to go on the piss.
Precisely. So all the boys are on an absolute pilgrimage of hedonism, of end of season jubilation. And I'm sitting in the living room with my foot just in ice and in a boot, and I'm just like, sad. Just add salt to the wound of losing in the playoffs. But yeah, such is life. I got the scan on during this week, and then figuring out now I've got the op on Friday just to put everything back where it should be. And we go on. I think it's like 10 to 11 weeks of rehabilitation, and then we're back into it, boys. Another season beckons.
Should we try and like pick him up, Mark? Because you came in heavy on the sombre attack and like really brought me down. I've got a little bit of a hangover. Never good on a Wednesday, and I needed a little pick me up here as well. But you came in sombre. But I'm going to help you here, Max. Listen, let's see the positives in this. It's right at the end of the season, so at least you got to play the whole season. Or would you prefer to get injured during the season so you got a bit of time off there? Because now you're actually thinking about it, now your time off's fucked as well.
Yeah, it is a little bit. But then at least we didn't win in a weird way.
Yeah. Isn't it weird? Isn't that weird?
Is that selfish?
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
There was a few guys went down. I know that is incredibly selfish. I take it back. My solid isn't but a few guys went down, so we would have been, if we had won, we would have been battling in the final for position numbers. But yeah.
Well, let's talk. Let's find some positivity. What about that atmosphere? Because it looked incredible on the TV. I was like, it looked pretty special.
Yeah, the Bath supporters put out the sort of placards, Bath on the side. The pyrotechnics were firing. You could smell the sort of the gravity of the game. I was sitting on the bench, mate. It felt like the last 2 minutes, the first 5 minutes. It was that like taut with tension. The stadium was reverberating. It was wonderful. It was a real sort of a calamity was about to happen. It was brilliant. First half, on top of them, down their throat, winning the collisions. In fact, I was hoping we'd get like a couple more scores. We got a little bit hard done by there. We could have been a little bit more clinical, but we were up half-time.
You should definitely have been further up at half-time.
Yeah, I agree. We should have got a couple more scores, I think. And I think that would have changed the sort of outcome of the game a little bit. But credit to Bath, that spell at like the 50-minute mark where they just piled in like 3 tries. As always, the great bench effort. Miles Reed coming on, making about 20, 21 tackles. I think he made the most tackles in the game. And he was only on for sort of half an hour. So
now that guy Pepper, by the way, what about him?
No, played very well. Very well, yeah.
But Max, that's the frustrating thing, because if you had carried on playing the way you boys were in the first half, but sometimes I look at it and go, are you going to be able to carry on playing like that for 80 minutes? It's just is that why like you have these big swings? Because first half was incredible. Like, and you looked at it and I'm going, oh, this is it. They're going to do it. We're going to be heading to the Prem final.
We're heading.
But is that sometimes the way you play? Is it sustainable to do that for 80 minutes? Is that sometimes a problem?
I think it is, though, because we finished the game strongly as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a question of gas tank. I think it was just like Joe's try in particular, there was like really nice bounce. And then Bath close to the line, very, very, very clinical. Like Max Jomo's having a hell of a back end of the season. He's been class. Finn was pulling the strings. I just think they've got a very good understanding of sort of that sort of red zone attack, and they're very, very deadly there. I think that combination of Ben Spencer and Will Muir is very difficult to deal with, especially with the new rules coming in. Like Ben Spencer's box kicking is one of their greatest weapons.
Yeah.
Very difficult thing to sort of counteract. And then Will Muir is just an absolute horse in the air. He's freakish.
I'm all right saying because you dropped that after the first half. You came out the second half and there was like a knock on, wasn't there? Straight off the kickoff or something. It was just like everything sort of went downhill after that, is what I felt like.
Yeah, they just kept hold of the ball, and then they just got on top. And
Can we focus on the first half though, Ryan? We're trying to get it. We're trying to get him back up. Let's that first half.
Absolutely fine. There's no getting up from this, Mark.
Just quickly, Max, though, in that scintillating first half, Kalavati Ravouvou, right?
Oh, yes.
Under huge pressure, you're at the start of a semi-final and people bearing down on your back, you're running back into your 22. What is that guy about?
He's a singular Fijian, that's for damn sure. He's very laid back. He sort of walks around the club backwards. He's got antifreeze for blood. He's like a big child. Calamari, ravioli, mate, he's the boy, absolute legend. He couldn't speak a word of English now. His lexicon is vast. It's been class to see him grow into the sort of program. Mate, he's put on so much weight as well. He's a big old freakish athlete.
That's
now.
what happens with them. Like that was like Nico. When Nico came to Glasgow, he was like stick, and then they put one month of weights, and he just turned into this like freak athlete.
He's got on like 10 kilos, man. And then you could see how he used that so well against Ben Spencer with the sit down, and then putting away big Bill Madder. But yeah, man, he's been class. He's been phenomenal this year. Great man.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon with the whole build up, Max? Because there's a lot of chat around it with Pat and all the talk of, I think Genji came out and said, "Oh, they're posh. We're built to hate them in Bristol." Like, was something? Do you reckon the boys is a bit of a tactics going into it? Throw a bit of shit talk across and see if it helps.
There was no like spoken, tangible sort of directive in terms of like, let's get some propaganda out there and create some buzz. But Genji Evra is very confrontational, and I think Pat has enjoyed his record against Bath, as we all have. So I think it was just fuel to the fire. I think it adds a little bit of gamesmanship.
Yeah, and I think it's good because a lot of people now are going, "Oh, look, it's come back and bitten them in the arse." But you're like, no, but that's what you want. You want a bit of drama. You want to build it up, don't you?
I completely agree. And I think it just adds more sort of fuel to the fire for the sort of foreseeable future when it comes down to Bristol versus Bath. It's always going to be a bit spicier now. In the great words of Ainsley Harriott, should be very good.
He what did you think of the Bath coach Johan van Graan? He said a couple of things afterwards.
He's a stoic man, though, isn't he? He's got that kind of very cool, calm, collected persona. He lets his actions do the talking and the enough talk. It was that kind of vibe. And to be fair to him, Bath are the better team on the day, so it kind of theatrically fits his narrative, if you like. The winners get the history mark.
That's it. No one remembers. No one remembers the losers. Sadly for you for this. But again, what was the feeling with you? Had a nice barbecue yesterday, and people saying goodbye. But was the overall mood? That it was a good season. That you guys did very well. That you should be proud of what's happened.
I think there was. I think this season was like a confirmation of sort of identity, especially with last year where we were sort of patching through different sort of game plans and stuff. And I think, if anything, it told us that the way we're doing that, the way we're playing the game works. And so long as we essentialize that, I think going forward, we're going to be very successful. But yeah, there was definitely a positive glean to this season, even considering the sort of post-February wobble. But I think we dealt really well with some key injuries in terms of sort of intellectual property around the squad, and with the squads ever sort of dwindling in the Prem, I think we're very happy with how we went. There was definitely that, but yeah, it was like the 7th or 8th goodbye to some men you truly regard deeply, and sadly, it was sort of it lost that emotion. But it's weird, isn't it?
It's horrible. End of season. Do you know what? End of season is just the worst. This is why, and this is partly why this is coming out later. Because I'll take the blame. I was Monday got away.
I'll take a blame as though it's only a little bit you. It's 100% your fault.
But what I'm trying to get at here is that end of season. It's just suddenly everything just. It's just so weird. It's like it just all ends. Like I was at Stano's after the game, and I remember that feeling as a player. It was like they just lost the quarter final the semi final, and suddenly you're just like, right, well, when you wake up tomorrow, that's it. It's sort of over. You just got nothing really to do unless you're going on tour and stuff, but nothing to do for the next 12 weeks. You obviously got to go get an operation, but it's just a really odd, strange feeling. Like there's not many jobs where that happens, but it's just sort of like, right, that's it, it's over. You've got to wait now.
I think Jan spoke about it really well in sort of his last sign-off to the boys. He was talking about sort of how quickly it really does go, and he was just sort of emphasising that to the younger lads that these things don't last forever, and they kind of come and go very quickly. So the only thing permanent in this life is its impermanence. So get going while the going's good, boys.
I was looking for some help in this getting deep.
All right.
Can I see your finger, Matt? Can I see your finger? What's going on with your finger?
Oh, I was making a nice sort of one of those like umami cucumber pickle salads you get for a Japanese starter. And I sliced it up real nice on the man's leg.
Right, yeah, for anyone listening.
Lahiff, the world albatross at the moment. Are you just getting injured left, right, and centre?
I know, it's rather frustrating. But it's not actually as bad as it looks. It's just I don't have any sort of smaller plasters. This is all I had was gauze. But
when you go for your op on Friday, are you going to be completely immobile? What's the crack?
No, I'll be in like a boot and crutches for a few weeks, 3-4 weeks, and then I'm out of that. And I'm weight bearing, so it won't be the end of the world. But lads, speaking of sort of the destructive interest of the game, did anyone see Dunny's face after that?
Oh my goodness gracious me!
For the interview as well, he's like
the paper round through Mordor. He's like pure Mordorian now, poor bloke. Just a bulldog of a man. It's like his skull was hypertrophied and straight tensions in reaction to the many sort of impacts and skull contorting tackles he's made. To be fair, the man's a dog, absolute metronome.
You know, people look like they're dogs. He should have a little pug, shouldn't he?
Yeah. No, but he's got a lot. Well, I don't know how old the dog is now. It's been so long, but he had a lovely dog, as far as I know. It was like a Dalmatian Great Dane cross. Brilliant dog.
More pugger too.
You know, you're right. Like a what are they called? Those breeds, brachial breeds. Yeah, and they got the kind of face that's just been completely bred to mush. Why did we do that as humans? Why would we like? You know what? Aesthetically, we should breed dogs so they can't breathe. It looks cool. It's weird. Like the Pug's going strong, the Bulldog's going strong, the Griffin, Boston Terriers, poor little bastards. Just running around with like emphysema. But anyway, we digress.
Okay, let's quickly put a pin in the second semi-final and just ask Ryan. Okay, you were terrible at communication this week. Like, as in, basically, the entire team have been waiting to record this for now 48 to 56 hours. AWOL.
Yeah, what was going on? Talk to us. You must have been on some kind of odyssey.
What happened?
Do you know?
Start with day one, please. Start with day one. Okay, start with day one.
I went to work it was golf work, so it was a golf trip. So I went over to Archerfield, beautiful Archerfield. Max, you'd love it over there, and it was with a company called Plywood International. And they were hosting a golf day for some of their suppliers. So I went over there along with some other so-called celebs.
Oh, there were some big celebs.
Yeah, no, there were. I'm putting myself in a celeb bracket that it certainly shouldn't be. And yeah, I took it a little too far as per usual. But golf's obviously, you can't use your phone on the golf course. That's one rule I have. No phones on the golf course, just because it gets in your head. And then we rolled straight into a barbecue afterwards and a few beers, and
no phones at the barbecue as well, and
no phones
beers?
at the barbecue.
No, of course not.
This is it. Once you're working, you're there to sort of to work the room and stuff. You can't be texting and on your phone.
You sent me a picture of you and you and Chris Gale at 3 a.m.
That's class.
Wait, what are the chances that I have been in Monaco 2 weeks ago and there's a legend in a full Burberry outfit who I then find out through is Chris Gale? And I'm like, what a legend. 2 weeks later, you're sat in Scotland and he walks straight into the same room. And I looked around and I thought, this fucking my scene thing. That looks like Chris Gale. Went over and I just showed him the picture of me and him with the Burberry suit. And he just said, oh, no, man, what the fuck are you doing here? And then, that was it. And things just took a turn. So Jamie Bamber, lovely bloke, Max. He's my new best mate. What was it? Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
you
God,
remember him?
I started watching that recently.
Yeah, I'm going to have to now.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
what a man. And then Andre Nell, fast bowler. Ronnie Arani, another fast bowler. Was he a fast bowler? I don't know. He was a cricketer.
He was all-rounder.
And then a few rugby boys, the likes of Brian Redpath and Kenny Logan were there. Ben Morgan, he was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like big old lump, isn't he? Jesus Christ, size of the man.
Yeah, he could travel.
So yeah, and then yesterday there was another day of golf, and then there was an event last night which you had to sort of go and sit and enjoy. So yeah, there was lots of free alcohol, and I filled my boots with it. So I do apologise that my communication has been poor, but I also knew that Max wouldn't want to do the pod that close to the game and stuff. So I thought
you dare offset that, Max.
And here we are. Hey, and here we are. This is what's happening. I feel terrible. Absolutely shocking. Play good golf though. Mate, Chris Gale, what a legend. He is genuinely fucking insane though. I think he's like.
I think he was always reputed as being a bit mental, wasn't he? I didn't really watch cricket, but I knew about Chris Gale because he was just a bad man who just loved the party.
He loved the party, but he played cricket as though he was as a guy who loves to party. I.e., I'm just going to hammer everything out. I mean, he was like
the John Kelly of cricket, wasn't he?
That's probably a good analogy. I mean, he's amazing, so talented.
And do you know what? You don't realise, but that Andre Nell, is absolute unit, mate. They're massive. They're like big boys. And I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "Oh, I played." He's South African, so he played rugby as well when he was a kid, and could have played professional rugby as well.
Schoolboy South African rugby as well.
Yeah, but he chose cricket. But he said, "No, but what I do love is." I just got this feeling of being able to throw a ball as hard as I could at someone. And he's like, I just fucking take that ball and I just fucking throw it as hard as I can. And he's like, and I could see they're tapped. They're fucking tapped.
They're tapped the same way as the Springboks.
Yeah, he's like,
the outlet's different. Yeah.
Take this fucking heavy ball and throw it down the thing 95 fucking miles an hour. Boof. And I was thinking, yeah, that does sound quite enjoyable, actually. Just fucking throwing a ball at someone as hard as you can. Obviously, you're not aiming at him. I think you're aiming at the wickets, but it sounded like he didn't aim for the wickets. He aimed for the man. So, interesting few days, actually, boys. So it's been wonderful. It's
good to have you back in the land of the living. You certainly weren't for most, and even your messages were. They were either basically crying, i.e., I can't do this, to, man, I'm steaming. So anyway, let's move on from all of that.
Well, let's talk. Hold on. I want some of our South African fans to let us know if they do know Big Andre now and what they think of him, what they think of his speech, because I bet you any money they'll wade into the comments and let us know a few good stories about him. But yeah, that man. Yeah, I didn't realise cricketers were so big. Why are they so big? Is it a thing?
Fast bowlers though, because they get it. They're up. Yeah, they're up. It's
you want to be tall to generate more force on the ball, etc.
Absolutely spanking it down. Yeah, but they're not. They're all shape. Cricket is all shapes and sizes. Like you've got the England opener Ben Duckett's quite smaller than me and stuff, and so. Which is not a good barometer, but he's quite small. Right, we haven't given a word for. We've talked about obviously the defeat against Bath. What are your thoughts for them going into the final?
Well, sort of their final round was against Leicester, and they absolutely dog walked them. So, is that gonna be? Will they go in slightly?
I think they'll do it.
Yes.
I think that they're looking pretty handy, aren't they? They've got the mindset right. They've already won a couple trophies this season. I think they're in a good place, Bath. I think, I only watched the highlights of the Leicester Sale game, and it was a close game. It was another bloody good semi-final, to be fair, by the looks of it. But I just think Bath, too much class. Finn's just on a roll at the moment, and everything seems to be clicking. And you mentioned some of those players, like the likes of Guy Pepper, and in fact, they're just playing some good rugby. Sold out as well, is it? A sold out Twickenham.
Sold out, yeah, which is fabulous.
How good is that?
Yeah, it's going to be class. I reckon Bath get it done. I'm with you, Ryan.
Well, let's talk about the Leicester Sale game again. As Ryan said, very close. And I want to start with, because I always feel he doesn't get much airtime considering how electric he is and is clearly so talented. Adam Radwan's brace, particularly the ball he had no right to catch in the corner.
Unbelievable
for the try.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder. Maybe he should have left Newcastle a little earlier in his career. But yeah, unbelievable. Superman vibes everywhere. But he's always been a freak show, sort of, in terms of a speedster, renowned. But I thought Leicester in general were so good. Like Solomon Akata.
He was fucking
robbed on the gain line when he was running heavy. He was not happy. He looked class. Andre Pollard, did you see him hit the post though? I felt really bad for him. That looked awful.
Oh yes, I did see that. Was that him that rattled off the post? Was it?
Dupree's try, mate, that looked brutal. But yeah, man. Also, shout out to Nicky Smith. What a season! I want to take it back. That's the guy who should be in the Lions, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think he should be. I think he's just been he's part of Wales and they've struggled. But I think as a player, I think he should be in there. I completely forgot about him, but the whole season he's been just class. Leicester scrum's been incredible. He's been phenomenal. Like around the park, gets it done, carries in those sort of hard spots. But his set piece is just very, very good.
For a man that looks like he should be in the local darts team,
exactly. He doesn't look like much, but he is the man. He's a very good athlete.
Imagine you walk into a pub and you saw him, and he told you played international rugby. You'd be like, "Come on, mate!
Yeah,
Are you?"
there you
go.
In the scrum, he's like the king prawn as well. He can just be contorted into horrible angles, but he just gets out of them. Just puts you back through the sunroof. He's class.
It was a good game. I can't remember what I said last week. I thought Sale were going to do it. I think you might have come along with me on that thought as well, Max. But they gave it a good go. They gave it a good old go. But I don't know, Leicester. They've got a pretty good bench as well. And Perese came on, one touch, one try, just cut straight through there.
One of those guys though you bring on, you're like, what are we getting today? Are we getting a game break, or are we going to get something yellow or red here? But,
yeah. He was pumped. What when he gets like
the volla out the back was class as well.
Yeah, no look, wasn't it as well? He looked like he was. It was a no look. And a quick word on Michael Checker, right? Who kind of that mid-season he overhauled the defence side. I think he sacked defence coach, was it Matt Everard? And then they've kind of totally turned it around. Bearing in mind he's definitely leaving at the end of the season, but he is clearly a motivational sort of genius, right?
I think I remember when we interviewed him. He was pretty brilliant. Like you could see, he was a very thoughtful man, and he was clearly a student of sort of psychology for sport, of men, of like leadership. I think, he's.
Where's he going? Where's he going again?
I don't think he's picked a place, has he? I thought he was going to. He's going. Oh, actually, I don't know.
Oh no, Leicester have got Parlin, haven't they, coming in? But I don't really know where he's off to. But yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Coming in, only being there for. Is this his second season or just one season?
Just this season.
Just this season, mate.
It's just a bit odd.
He is going to lead Lebanon in the Rugby League World Cup. Because he's part. I think he's part Lebanese, but then his union job has not been confirmed.
And I think what we worked out is that he's got a load of fingers in a load of pies as well, hasn't he? So he's got a few different businesses and stuff.
He's a multi-millionaire as well, as far as we can tell. I mean, he's a self-made, like through clothes and everything. But actually, Ryan, it was really interesting. Facundo Issa, when we were in Monaco, I was asking him a bit about checks, and he was, he's the guy, because he didn't think much of whoever one of the other coaches, but he really rated Checker. He really did. So yeah,
well, he's done a good job, but whether he is, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Him versus Johan van Graan this weekend at Twickenham. We'll see who the real master is, but I think Johan van Graan is probably a bit more of a master. He's got the Bath boys frothing. Do you know what else I loved seeing, by the way? Is like Bruce Craig up in his box, and I wanted you to watch, but like. It's quite cool just seeing the owner of the club who's throwing all this money into it, like in there, like celebrating, having a good time. And you're thinking, fucking hell, that's pretty cool.
So what you're saying, we need to get more money together and go and buy a club just so we can sit around, just kind of getting lashed and celebrating.
Yeah. Rugby clubs can't make money though, can they?
No, money drains. We will get to R360 in a second, though, which will be later on in the show. But let's just a quick one. Did you see the sort of right at the death, the potential illegal tackle that was when Leicester were?
I find it. I don't know. What do you reckon of that? Fred Stewart on Cowan-Dickie? I'm not sure. I think Fred Stewart's bent out of the hit. He's gone low as he's gone. Cowan-Dickie's dropped high. He's basically doing sort of like a dive for the sort of ground.
He's dropped the head, and
I just think that's just
okay.
Everyone's got
good refereeing.
Good call by the referee.
Back just to make the plot thicker. Just
you didn't need that.
Interesting.
No, I think it was a good call. You look at it, there's nothing wrong with that there. So I think great call.
We'd like to take this moment to thank the wonderful people at Wolf Craig Distilleries. They have kindly helped us and sponsored us through day one of this ineligible, ridiculous podcast, and we thank them dearly for it. We love to ramble whimsically about the great game of rugby, and we couldn't do it without the great men of Wolf Craig Distillery. Get to their website at wolfcraig.com. Bet yourself something really nice. Ta-ta for now.
Let's switch our attention to the URC now and the semi-finals there. And Ryan, there was a lot of chat. You thought that maybe, you used the old peaking early for Leinster. The pressure was on them. Maybe their season had fizzled because the aim was the Champions Cup. It unfortunately did not go Glasgow's way.
Glasgow were just way off, weren't they? Did you see the game, Max?
Yeah, I saw bits, yeah.
It was just like I got my hopes up. I'll be honest. I got my hopes up, especially in that game the week before against Stormers, where they suddenly are like, oh, hold on, right, this is it. They're going to hit their straps coming into the business end of the season, but not to be. And do you know what? It was every single 50-50 they lost. Like every high ball, every little bit of scraps, they just never got anything back, and too many penalties, just under pressure. The game just got away from them. You've got to try and get ahead of Leinster, make them chase, and they just couldn't. But on the other side, Leinster, they looked pretty good. They suddenly looked like they had turned things around, and it was almost like, I don't know, that game against Scarlets for me, they weren't great at all, and you could see they didn't really. After the game, they came out and all looked a bit. They felt like the beginning of the podcast, a bit somber, just like, oh well, yeah, okay, we've made it. But they suddenly look like they got a new lease of life. So it'll be interesting to see at Croke Park this weekend. The Bulls are coming over. But yeah, Glasgow way off the pace. I was actually gutted for the boys, and again, legends of the club, Max. He sat on. I came back with the boys on their charter flight, and just sort of like, that's it. It's over for Sebastian Cancelliere, and knowing that Tom Jordan, that's the last time you'll see him in a Glasgow jersey for now, if he ever comes back. Gutting. Absolutely gutting, to be fair. But hey ho. You don't
put a word in though, Ryan. Come on, let's now switch it around. Despite everything we've said, it did take Leinster a lot to get, to turn what was a pretty not a greatest performance last week to then go through to win a semi-final, to beat you guys comfortably. That's the Leinster we know, right?
I think so. I mean, it'll all mean nothing if they don't do it this weekend. And I don't know. The atmosphere was a bit weird. It was like they didn't sell many tickets for it, and I don't know whether it was the fans waiting for this weekend. Croke Park, obviously an iconic place to go and play, but you've got to sell a lot of tickets. And I know the URC are hammering it, trying to go after it and make it a big one. But the Bulls won't have a huge following, will they? They'll come over. I still think the Bulls might do it, boys. I don't know why.
They're spooky right now, aren't they? They're very spooky. That's scrumming. Oh my god.
They just mate. What about their scrum in that shots?
Oh lordy, there's no mugs either on the other side of that. On the other side,
exactly. That's scary.
You're like, hold up, what's just happened there? But yeah, lads. Also, let's talk about Leicester and Glasgow's respective tight heads. Tyke Furlong and Zander Fagerson. So Zander Fagerson's officially out, but little birdie
out of the Lions. Out of that. That is a big one.
I feel so bad for him, eh?
No, but
Have you spoken to him?
I sent him a message just because I'm guessing he didn't really want to chat to anyone. But yeah, brutal, absolutely brutal. I won't say too much about how or what, but so hold on, Ty Furlong
he's looking doubtful. Yeah,
he's ominous as well for fitness for the tour.
So who goes in then?
Who are we bringing in?
Will Stewart's starting the tests, but who's coming in? Finlay Beelam's in. He's officially in the squad. The question comes: who do they take on the back of that? They need one more tight head. So I'd be like, take Carl Sinclair. He's been there. He's done it. He's played in the tests on the bench. He's been class. He's a big game player. Gone well for Toulon this year. But I think they'll take Joe Hayes. So we'll know more after this final this weekend at the Premiership. But I believe Joe Hayes is going. But Asher Fajour is training right now at the Lions.
What about Will Griff-John? I'm still trying to get a Welshman in who's obviously had a good season with Sale.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially he could also be in the discussion, but I think that they'll go that way because they've taken Ash already. So wouldn't they have taken Will Griff-John already? Ash is ahead of Will Griff at Sale.
Fair play. In any case, our condolences go out to poor old Zander from that perspective. Just a quick word, Ryan. Did you see Franco Smith addressing the media? You know, I think there was some tears after that game and a lot of uncertainty over whether he's going to stay. What do you think?
At the moment, from what I know, I think he'll stay. He's not, because there was a lot of chat around it. There was loads of chat around it, wasn't it? When the whole Leicester thing was happening, when the Wales job was going and Australia stuff, there was like his name getting thrown in the ring for everything. But genuinely, I haven't got a clue. But from what I know at the moment, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the SIU will be desperate to keep hold of him because I reckon down the line somewhere, I'm not sure how long, there's probably a thought for him being the Scotland coach. But yeah, I have no inside scoop for you, gentlemen, I'm afraid. No inside scoop.
So useful to have you on this show as a Glasgow Warriors and URC representative and not being able to give us anything. Let's move on to Sharks versus Bulls. Karma alert. Did you guys see?
I did see.
Clean your stuff, boys.
Explain what happened, please, guys.
He's gone for the extra. He slipped
Hendricks, slipping under pressure.
He slipped on the kick. It's ended up in the opposition's hands, so they've scored in the corner. Mental scenes. And I can imagine some very, very smug Munster men.
You're right. There will be.
Calm as a mirror, gentlemen. Calm as a mirror.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, if you believe in it. These things happen though. It's rugby.
I felt bad for him though.
They just missed every kick. Missed like they just. I mean, you can't stay in the game if you're missing all your kicks. And again, an atmosphere-wise, like that is a tough old place to go and play. I was obviously there last year with Glasgow, but you could see, because it was the Sharks and it was the Bulls, it was a pretty tasty atmosphere. It looked awesome over there,
wasn't it? The Springbok tour as well.
Yeah, that as well. That as well. But it was another great game. Bloody good game to watch. But I just think the Bulls just look tasty. They've got some fucking humongous individuals. But you look at the Sharks team. Why can't they do it? Why can they not do it with all those Springboks in there? What is it, Max? Why do they not do the same as when they're put a Springbok jersey on? They'll be different people.
Patriotic ecstasy is just different, mate. It's different.
And Coach Rassie
is, he's singular, let's be honest. The bloke's probably the most sort of influential man in rugby right now. He's the Steve Jobs of Union. But Mate, Wilco Louw, speaking of freakish humans, mate, he was brought up on the gravity of Jupiter, wasn't he? There's something going on there. Humans weren't meant to look like that, were they? He's just so thick. He's got a femur like a kind of orc. Bloke's mental. The joints don't make sense. He was made in a lab. He's a test tube tight head. Mate, people calling out for him being the sort of South African Player of the Year. I am sort of club rugby wise, and I kind of believe that scrum. And then you got the young man Hendrik Wessels coming up, who's also the all court freak show.
Yeah,
he's like a centaur, isn't he? So mate, it's looking interesting. Bull's looking rosy. And
will they beat Leinster?
Catchy season, didn't they? They were calling for Jake White's head.
Yeah.
Boys were kicking off, but they persevered through it all, and they're in a final. And mate, I think the horsepower up front could be very, very influential as how that result goes for the Bulls, mate.
Well, that's why I think they might beat the Bulls, because they've got that ability to. Because Leinster, this all blitz team, aren't they? They just go after it. But if you've got fucking humans the size they have just going at a blitz defense, you're going to knock some people over and hurt.
Well, he's going well, isn't he? He's going well. I remember playing the Bulls like 2 seasons ago. I was like looking at him. I was like, "What's going on over there, lads? You are just, well, you're like an action man, like one of those space marines. It's like just like a cybernetic soldier." But yeah, lads, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a class final.
Who do you want to win?
I kind of want Bulls to win. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want Bulls to win. They've just got so many cool players as well. There's a lot of fun players on that team. Guys I just really admire as athletes.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I think I want the Bulls to win.
But then again, Leinster winning, I feel like that'd be a nice boon for them. I think they've had so much heartbreak in the last few years.
Yeah, they deserve that.
Tell you what, if they don't win, the pressure is on. The pressure is on. There's like a
lot of resources are being poured into that, aren't there? And then it's not coming to fruition at this point. So, yeah, I agree with you. There'll definitely be some sort of outside pressure, 100%.
Boys, let's quickly touch upon. Did you see any of the Super Rugby? I'm using the term quarterfinals rather loosely because Max, you're probably more across it. Did you see how? I see the Chiefs losing, but then they still progress through.
Explain what the lucky loser rule. Explain it to me, Mark. I was looking this up. I can't. So it's
I saw something like this. I don't get it either. What's going on?
They lose a ranking point, I think it is, and so therefore they lose a seeding point. So it changes home and away
games.
That's the main bit. But ultimately, because they finished the season, the regular season at the top of the pile, they were always going to be in the semi-finals.
I kind of like it, but I kind of feel like, what's the point of the?
Well, the top 14 do it perfectly, where they do the top 2 go into the semis, and then the quarterfinals are effectively the next 4 teams play each other for a chance to play the other 2 in the semis, which makes more sense. But again, look, they obviously they want the games to get more revenue, and so it makes sense to put it on. It just felt a bit. Do you know what I mean? You're not quite. Your Blues winning, brilliant, but it sort of didn't translate too much. Yeah. Although I think the repercussions of then who else would get knocked out is what actually made the big difference. Because had I think the Chiefs won, then it would have created a different lineup for the semi-finals. But that's that one. Did you see? Did you see? I mean, your Reds that you've obviously supported or are a big fan of, and what Les Kiss has been doing there for a while, but again, they're finding it unable to get past the quarterfinals.
I know. I was gutted to see that, but at least a few Brumbies are through, aren't they? Did I get that right?
Brumbies are through. They beat the Hurricanes 35-28.
Aussie rugby's a lot more competitive than sort of recent years, especially this year. So I think it shows healthy signs for the Wallabies for sure. But yeah, gutted for the Queens and Reds, 100%.
I've just read Mape just signed for the Moana Pacifica as well for next season. That's pretty cool. For All Black, so he's going there. I've just seen that in the older.
I'm just. How do they let 13 players go, mate?
But they love it.
Moana Pacifica, 13 players have let go, I'm pretty sure. Or moving on.
Really?
Let
But
go.
did you see it's still the boys? It was our old mate Taniela Tupou. He was posting, I think on his stories he was posting about like Moana Pacifica and stuff. I think they just in their hearts, a lot of the boys, don't they? They want to go and follow, Adi Sarver and go and do these things. I'm not saying that's what Nella wants to do, but in any case, let's park that for the moment. Boys, I want your thoughts on R360. First thing first, do you know players who've signed?
Oh, I'll tell you one thing I do know is that I was with Mike Tyndall at the golf day. He was actually there. And he is one of the backers, isn't he? But he all he said to me was, getting a fair bit of heat. Getting a fair bit of heat, boys. And I think that's about all I chatted to him about. But what I don't know. I'm all for it. I'm all for it if it's what it says it is on the tin and like this live golf type of thing. I don't think it doesn't affect the season too much, but I don't think the unions will let it happen. What I'm hearing is you won't be allowed to play international rugby. That's the only sort of card they would have left to players. So if you play in that, you're not allowed to play international rugby. That's the one way they stop
even though for those who are coming new to it, just worth saying that it is formulated to work around all the international windows. So World Rugby itself is not necessarily saying no. They're saying, well, I mean, look, from a World Rugby perspective, why not? It's if it brings younger eyes to rugby and can replicate the kind of success of Formula One going, the tours around the world and all of that stuff. But and from what's the player's perspective, Max?
Oh mate, power to them. Do it, boys. Get in there. Get while the going's good. I've heard some boys got NDAs, right? I've heard a few lads have signed some NDAs. Some very, very influential members of the contemporary rugby game. Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be some funny money, boys. Some funny money. Woof. Mate, good for them. I'm all for it. I think it'll be fascinating. It'd be quite cool to see a sort of a novel take on how to present and produce sort of the rugby games in a more kind of like festival sort of spectacle. I think it'll be great.
Well, they're doing, they're doing this Rugby Club World Cup. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool. I love that. I think we've actually spoken about it on it before that we want to see Northern Hemisphere teams play the Southern Hemisphere teams in a club match and see what happens there. It'll be so interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff getting thrown around this season. I think who was it? Was it Luke Donald? About Geordie Barrett playing for Leinster and saying that it's a really weak league and stuff like that. So that's exciting.
Luke Donald, the golfer, or Stephen Donald?
Stephen Donald. Sorry, I'm so.
Stephen Donald. Yeah, mate. He says.
So that was.
Stephen Donald says some wild takes. Really appreciate it. But wow, vitriol everywhere.
Oh yeah, he didn't hold back, did he?
Barrett's, he'd have to play a season of Super Rugby before he got to get back in the ABs. I was like, hold up, gentlemen. Yeah. I would like to see Leinster take on any of the New Zealand franchises. I think they'd make a very good go of it.
Yeah, I reckon so. So that's interesting. But with that, we're back to that league. Listen, I'm not fully across everything, but I like the sound of going to Vegas and having a rugby match in Las Vegas or Miami. Like Dubai, and
that's like a past self, a past Ryan.
I mean, I could work those games. I'd be happy to work those games.
Yeah. No doubt you would. You get lost in the kind of.
Oh, crikey!
The problem with it, boys, we got a real uphill struggle trying to get like access to it. If Mike Tyndall is running it off Good Bad Rugby, we're like, hey guys, could you give us a piece of the pie?
Tiny slice, just a mere morsel, just
to be in the background. Thank you. Please, can I have some more, sir? In any case, that is exciting. No, again, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
We want some of these new ideas, and let's not straight away turn them down and think.
Actualize it. I agree, Mark. It's time to actualize change, and I think this is a big platform for doing that.
I'm straight. So, Max, you'd put your hand up. Nice cheeky contract.
Of course
kind
he
of whatever.
would.
12 games, 8 games.
Oh, Andy Pete, mate, that sounds absolutely majestic. All for it.
What would be the coolest brand to own it? Like, obviously, Red Bull, there's all the talk with the Newcastle stuff, if that's ever going to happen. Again, that just gets talked about all the time, but Red Bull would be the one, wouldn't it? You'd want to be on the Red Bull team.
No, what would be? There must be what is the coolest brand in the world that you'd want involved?
Oh, Mark, I had caviar for the first time last night.
It's lovely, Mark.
Beluga caviar, Mark. You know, on a blini with some Gravelac.
It's lovely.
It's nice.
Oh, yeah, that's something nice.
Yeah. And they had a whole Iberico ham leg, and the mate who was there carving it.
When you get the good stuff, doesn't it just dissolve on the palate?
Max,
so good.
It was ridiculous. And then going around the course, oysters, shucking oysters. Mate was there just shucking oysters, as many as you wanted. I was
I'm a big fan of that.
Oh, yeah.
You just tell Bex you're working, and it's just pictures of you eating caviar and getting pissed with Chris Gale.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why that that came to my mind because I was thinking of a brand that Mark would like, and then I thought caviar, and then that's where I was going with that. But
I think I'd go like the Carhartt Lions, Red Bull, Rangers. What else? Do you want more luxury? Do
you just go Carhartt? Is that your favourite clothing?
I was like, I think I just misheard Max. Stussy, I believe the Stussy brand would be.
Is that how you say it? Stussy?
Stussy. I think we got it right.
Okay, we'll go Montclair or something. What does Mark like? Like polo, like Ralph Lauren.
Oh, yeah, I'm just boring. I'm Ralph Lauren. Yeah,
Ralph Lauren.
In any case, boys, very, very, very exciting. But can we just take a second, because a lot of our fabulous listeners and viewers are worried about Max Lahiff's condition.
It's just bananas.
Why is Max so red? Bro, why are you so red? Are we not going to address the sun spanking you've taken? Someone get that man some factor 50. SPF 50. Why is Max transforming into Hellboy? Hopefully Max has been tested for steroids, because being that red is a telltale sign. He's British. He could have just been in the sun for 30 minutes. Juice. Max needs to get his hematocrit checked. Red tomato. Max looking redder than the Munster shirt there. Why is that dude so red? Dude needs to chill and stay out of the sun for a minute. What's up with the red dragon? You need to crawl out of the sun, bro. Geez, Max, have you just returned from Mars? Can you change the color grading so we don't look so fucking red? I suppose this is a bad time to mention I'm colorblind. The colorblind thing might be an issue.
Oh, that is
very good.
To James, to our producer, that is fabulous.
It's amazing. Right, by the way, that's we're starting this show with that. That's what the show is starting with. This is welcome to Maul or Nothing. Boom.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That is amazing.
Yeah, those comments.
Is that a thing? Do you go red if you get on steroids? People really lean in on the old steroid chat.
They were like, I'm on trend. I'm on all sorts of madness. I was like, yeah, fair enough.
It's red and ripped, mate. That's getting you in trouble.
I get tested so often, lads. Come on now.
None of us believe it, but I guess for our wonderful, even our fans know you're not. But once did say also loved you in the long way down with you and McGregor. Oh, so good.
Keep getting in the comments, people. We really love it.
Come on in. Keep piling in. Don't be worried. As well. Brilliant. Thank you guys so much for all of your comments. Keep them coming in. We absolutely love them. But we are going to let Ryan go for a rest now after his 48-hour incommunicado massive drinking binge. And Max, good luck with the operation. Fingers crossed. Tell us all about it next week. And Ryan, good luck with the final between Leinster and the Bulls. And to all our wonderful fans, thank you so much. Jump in the comments, send your love, tell everybody else to subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Mwah!
Ta-ta!
Oh, I can't wait to go to bed.
More or nothing.
Oh, lads. Yeah, look at this. Wait, look at this. Oh, God. Oh.
Don't hurt yourself.
Max,
look at the size of this.
For anyone listening, Max is trying to show us his foot, I think, but his camera's crashed. Oh, here we are.
Well, it's just you've got
I've got lunch lady ankles.
You've got fankles.
Yeah. Doris the lunch lady. Look at those puppies. Woo.
Yeah, that's like the average woman in Glasgow's leg. That's
just red meat gout right there, mate.
Yeah, that's what my feet feel like that this morning after eating too much caviar.
Anyway, boys, it's been a pleasure.